TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
Hello, welcome to TravelWise. I'm Phil Blizzard in Dubai, and this is the first anniversary of the TravelWise podcast series. We started in March of last year. In this edition, I'm going to reflect back a little bit on some of the podcasts from last year, and this time, well, very much an interview feature as we take a look at a resort which is reopened here in the UAE, located on an island off the coastline of Abu Dhabi, Bani Yas Island resorts from Anantara. So we're going to be taking a look at that with a special interview with the resort manager, Rachid Bakas. But first, reflecting back on last year and some of the popular interviews. Let's find out who was most popular after this.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
Well, the most popular podcast listing based on the number of views, likes and downloads are, well, I'll tell you in a moment. In third place, we had an interview special with Guy Hutchinson, President and CEO of Rotana Hotels. The second most popular was a travel feature on, well, regarding this COVID era, with insights from Sir Tim Clark, President of Emirates. And the most popular podcast based on the number of views, likes and downloads was from Raki Phillips, CEO of the Ras Al Khaimah Tourism Development Authority. So congratulations to him and also to the other two who made it into the top three, Sir Tim Clark and Guy Hutchinson, President and CEO of Rotana Hotels. Sir Tim Clark, of course, President of Emirates.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
And of course you can catch up and reflect back on those interviews. They're all available on any of our podcast channels. So moving on now, our interview special this time is taking a look at the Anantara Bani Yas Island Resorts in Abu Dhabi, or off the coastline of Abu Dhabi, as we talk to, or in fact as I talk to, the resort manager Rachid Bakas. And we move on now to our interview special for this TravelWise podcast, catching up with Rachid Bakas, the resort manager for the Anantara Bani Yas Island Resorts in Abu Dhabi.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
It's a pleasure now to speak with Rachid Bakas, who's the general manager. He's the resort manager for what is an amazing resort in the UAE. So, Rachid, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, of course. I think thanks will come to you for having us on your show.
Yeah, great stuff. Thanks very much. Now, you're actually on the island itself, which must be an absolute delight. And you were, like so many resorts and hotels, had a downtime. So you've recently, I believe, reopened for guests to come to Bani Yas.
Yes, correct. We have reopened the three resorts on the 1st of February. It was a very exciting moment, I have to say, when we started on reopening, and as well during the reopening itself, during the first 2 weeks, looking at guests coming back to the island, looking at those families and couples and the joy on their faces. It's something really that makes us, of course, proud and happy.
Absolutely. So we want to have a look at the range of your accommodation and the leisure activities and the facilities. You have so much to talk about there. So let's establish exactly where you are. I mean, the driving time from Abu Dhabi is a good starting point. So how long to get to the point where you move across to the island?
Getting to the island, we actually have many ways to get to the island. We've got by land, of course. Guests can drive their own vehicle to Jebel Dana Jetty, Sir Bani Yas Jetty as well, where they can take the boat. It's a 2 hours and a half drive from Abu Dhabi. Really a fantastic highway, 160 kilometers speed per hour. It has been renovated 3 years ago.
Yeah, sure.
No complications on the road. Straight will get you to the jetty. Second one as well, we have an airport at the island. If any guest wants to come on a private plane, can land as well at the island. We've got a contract with Seawind Company. It's a seaplane company from Dubai and Abu Dhabi. They are arranging as well private charters or private trips, 8-seaters on a plane. They can land either on the jetty itself, in the water, or as well at the airport.
That's a fabulous experience, isn't it? A fabulous experience landing on the water. And talking of flying, I remember flying to the island from the private terminal in Abu Dhabi a few years ago. That was a great experience, just going into the heart of Abu Dhabi, flying across the island. And people might think, I suppose, 3.5 hours from Dubai is a long drive, but when you think about what you're going to get when you get to your island, it's like being in the heart of the Indian Ocean in many ways. So the time to get there is a lot quicker, a lot speedier than flying to, say, the Maldives, for example.
I fully agree. This is something we always emphasize. I mean, yes, you drive 3 hours from Dubai, but if you look at flying somewhere else from UAE, you need 2 hours to be at the airport. You have at least an hour flight. Landing at the airport on other destination will take you as well 30 to an hour. Sure. So all in all, you need 4 or 5 hours to get to your destination. Driving to Bani Yas keeps you within UAE, so you don't need to go through the protocols of traveling abroad. You don't need to go through an airport. You don't need to go through the customs. And you feel you are really away from UAE.
Absolutely.
Once you are in the island, you really don't feel you are in UAE. It's a totally different environment, different ambience, different atmosphere as well. So I think something we will go through later when we talk about the facilities and resorts we have.
Absolutely. And what about the ferry crossing from the jetty at Jebel Danat? How long does that take on the ferry?
It takes exactly 25 minutes. It's a 9 kilometers crossing. It's a 9 kilometers from the mainland to the island jetty. We have scheduled trips that covers from morning all the way to 11 p.m. As well, we can arrange special trips, special boats for any guest who would like to have his own private trip any time of the day or at night.
Excellent. Okay. So from your perspective, what do you feel makes the island so special? Well, to you, for example. Let's start with your perspective.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views, and interviews.
What makes the island so special is first that combination of leisure, historical background, educational activities we have as well. The island being a historical natural island that have started since 70s by late ruler of UAE, Sheikh Zayed.
Sure.
The efforts the conservation team is doing in the island, it's an 87 square kilometers, just to highlight. So it's really a huge island. Looking after nature and animals in the island is just amazing. And when you see that throughout the year, the 12 months of the year, and for almost now 4 decades or 5, so it's something really amazing. It's not just a touristic destination. No. It's a combination.
And it's almost like being on a safari, isn't it? You can imagine yourself down in Africa, Kenya or something like that with the wildlife, which is phenomenal.
Trust me, Phil, it's not just about the wildlife. When we actually have 3 separate resorts in the island. Yeah, so we've got Desert Island Resort and Spa. That's the main hotel, which has hotel rooms and a couple of villas. The hotel was built as a guest house at the beginning, and of course was then taken over by Anantara to manage the guest house. That was since 2008. So there is a historical background on the building itself. The building itself has a lot of historical stories. Every corner has its own story. Then we moved to the other 2 resorts that has been built in 2014, late 2013, Aliyam Villa Resort, villas by the beach and the mangroves, as well as Al Sahel Villa Resort, which is in the middle of the wildlife park. Surrounded by nature, surrounded by animals. It's all about wildlife.
Fantastic.
So in one island, you've got 3 separate experiences. In each hotel, you again have separate experiences. You are coming with the family, you've got your choice of Desert Island Resort and Spa where main activities are happening. You come in to celebrate any special occasion with your loved ones. You are on a romantic getaway. You've got, of course, Aliyam Villas, and you have as well Al Sahel Villas. You come in as well to enjoy something different that you cannot find elsewhere in UAE. You have Al Sahel Villa Resort.
I'd imagine the villas are very, very popular at the moment in this COVID era because people perhaps want to keep the family together and somewhat separated. So they must be very appealing to a lot of families.
No, I fully agree. Especially, yes, Al Sahel Villa Resort. Since we have reopened and it was just a full occupancy.
So we're talking about the landscape of the island, the wildlife. And I'm just sort of thinking with clear blue skies, or in fact, clear night sky, because I want to get onto the nighttime aspect. It must be an amazing night scape of the planets and the stars.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So if I go through the activities and landscapes of the island, I think we will need more time. We have a very wide range. If I go through the list quickly, we've got, as I mentioned, Nature and Wildlife Drive.
Sure.
We have a nature walk, which is really a beautiful activity that we used to do mainly with the sunrise or sunset. You go on a walk in nature with the guide. You go very close to the giraffes and other gazelles, oryx.
And when we talk about animals, I mean, one of the most unusual perhaps are the giraffes. I say unusual for where we are located. So what else have you got?
We have more than 11,000 animals in total with almost 30 species. Of course, as you have mentioned, giraffes, we have cheetahs, Arabian oryx, sand gazelles, mountain gazelles, peacocks, ostrich, emus, llamas, elands, and the list goes on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you have a destination where 2 nights stay is not long enough. You want more like a week or 2 weeks by the sound of it.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
So, Rachid, I want to come on to a couple of things. What about in this era of COVID? What about requirements for people to visit the island and your properties?
Sure, of course. Something just to highlight before we start answering the question is our properties are certified Go Safe from Abu Dhabi authorities. So we have got our certification to reopen. We have gone through inspections through Department of Health as well as Department of Culture and Tourism, where we have scored 100% scores. Coming to the island, for example, if you come in from Dubai, for example, you still need to go through the protocols of crossing between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, because the island is a part of Abu Dhabi Emirate. Coming to the island, we have an arrival center in the mainland where everybody will be checked in terms of temperature. Of course, the sanitizers are available everywhere in the center itself, on the boats and the cars. But again, I think what makes the island unique and more safe is, first of all, being far from the city. The access to the island is only for guests who books the hotel or coming for a day trip, a day visit. Not anyone can get to the island. You have the hotels are 7 kilometers far from each other. That puts people in different areas, and small hotels, 30 villas in Al Yam, 30 villas in Al Sahel, 64 in Desert Island. So this limitates the chances, of course, of having infections or having even guest interactions. Villas themselves are secluded. You have 15 meters to 20 meters between a villa to another. It's actually the perfect location if you really want to have a getaway out of your city, within your country, and of course feeling safe.
Very, very appealing indeed, as you say, that separation of the villas and the resorts themselves. So to finish off, and what about your website? What's the location? What's the address for your website for listeners to get further information?
Look, Anantara in general has made it very, very simple. You get to anantara.com, then you choose the destination you want. You choose the resort you want. Within Bani Yas, you have 3 different resorts. You choose which one. You've got a lot of packages. You have so many packages.
So there we go. It's going to be, I was going to say, simply go to anantara.com and select Bani Yas Island Resorts. Yeah, so.
Exactly.
Okay, it's been a pleasure talking to Rachid Bakas, who's the resort manager at Anantara, Bani Yas Island Resort. So thank you very much indeed for joining us, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Phil. Thanks a lot.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
And many thanks to Rachid Bakas for giving us an overview of the Anantara Resort on Bani Yas Island, Abu Dhabi. And in the next edition of TravelWise, we'll be having a focus on the aviation sector across the UAE and beyond.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
Right, we'll have updates of the travel situation across the region on my weekly travel show on Capital Radio, Saturday afternoons, Capital Radio UAE, Saturday afternoons between 2 and 5. It's called Wish You Were Here, and you can join me from anywhere in the world online with www.capitalradiouae.com. And if you would like to have a podcast production for your organisation, do get in touch with me. Drop me an email, philblizzardmedia@gmail.com.
A Phil Blizzard radio production. TravelWise. Aviation news flown in by Sea Wing Seaplane Tours. See Dubai as never before.